today with Richard and Laura Cudd. They're the owners of Asbury Pharmacy in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. So tell me a little bit about what did you do before you owned the pharmacy?
Before we bought the pharmacy, I was the clinical manager at Oklahoma Heart Hospital, and the primary role I had was to start clinics, start core measures, implement a lot of those to save the hospital money, to reduce their penalties, interact with the doctors and make sure that they were on board and they really understood, manage the other pharmacists, so I would create the program and hand it off and then go make another one. So in that time I did the anticoagulation program, pain management, hypertension clinic, there was diabetes protocol, there were a couple others in there, but it was probably it.
And Richard, what is your background?
Well, oddly enough, I did consulting work with a couple of different firms, and worked in the laboratory diagnostic business, and so we traveled around to laboratories around the world, and we did a lot of work for the major diagnostic vendors, Abbott, Roche, Novartis, and many others. We did a lot of marketing research for them, but a lot of what we did was doing the laboratories, and we would either collect data on the competitors' instrumentation that they were looking at, or we would actually we got hired by some labs to come in and look at how they were running their operation and give them ideas on how they can be more efficient and cut costs and things of that nature. So when Laura came to me and was talking about working with you guys, being somebody that had done consulting, it helped me see the value in it and know that, having that guidance from somebody who knew the industry would be pretty invaluable in helping us with doing something that we hadn't done before.
That's a good perspective. Yeah. So Laura, you had that job as I'm around pharmacy students, and I say, well, what do you want to be?
Right.
And they would all, not all, but a large majority would say they wanted to be exactly what you were. And yet you chose to leave that behind and go be an owner. So tell me, what drove that decision, or how did you come to that decision?
Well, I spent a large part of my time at the heart hospital reviewing charts, finding out why people come back to the hospital, and then drilling down and trying to fix that problem. And a great majority of it was that they just were not compliant with their medications, either because they didn't know, or they didn't want to, or it wasn't, maybe they got the wrong instructions when they left, or all kinds of reasons like that. But that was a huge issue. And while I was there, one of the programs they tried to implement that wasn't quite as successful as it could have been was the transitional care. And it was, in my eyes, had a lot to do with not being able to bridge the gap. You've got providers outside of the hospital, providers in the hospital, and they really don't connect. The pharmacists in the community didn't really know what the hospital wanted them to do and couldn't really support the patients. So that was my primary reason for doing it, is I wanted to try to support patients in a higher clinical level in the community pharmacy.
And you've had a very successful pharmacy. It's been great, but I know it didn't start out that way, right?
No, and I think that no matter who you are and what pharmacy you buy, you're going to have some bumps. So let's just put that out there. But the truth is, when I bought the pharmacy, we had a lot of people walk out right as I was walking in. In fact, I was being introduced to the pharmacist who was one of the part-time pharmacists, and literally, "Hi, my name is Joanne, and I think this will be my last day." It's just,
This is before they even really met you.
Yeah, she didn't know me at all.
So nothing personal.
There was nothing personal. She was 70 and she was ready to retire, and she could see it was going to be work to have a transition. And again, there were a couple of technicians that stayed, and they were 70, and so they.
70 used to be old.
I know, it's not as old as it used to be. It's the new 50. So, but yeah, there was a lot of work there to rebuild the staff and decide the processes that I wanted, because I was coming from an environment where I didn't do retail, so really I was creating every process from scratch, and so there was just a lot to be decided. Every single thing you had to think through.
Yeah, a lot of challenges there with staffing immediately. So Richard, what have you been able to bring to the pharmacy?
Well, I brought my background in sort of process analysis that I had done a lot of consulting, and that sort of data mining, digging into all the data that gets generated in a pharmacy on a daily basis, and sort of understanding what that means to the operation in terms of the operation and financially, and what are the impacts. Because we all know that with decreasing reimbursements like we've had, it's important to really be able to dissect everything that goes on in the pharmacy. And if you don't follow that, on a weekly or monthly basis, it's hard to evaluate your operation and see where you might be able to save a little bit of money here and there to make up for the effect of some of the decline in reimbursements.
Absolutely. So how is Independent RX Consulting? How were we able to help you with the process?
Well, from the beginning, Owen was able to help us evaluate pharmacies, whether that was even one that we would want to pursue owning. And Owen was also instrumental in giving us realistic expectations and goals. I think the level of personnel issues I had was surprising, but the fact that I had personnel issues was not surprising. And so I think having Owen there as a resource to ask, and then he would put me in touch with you or people who had done it before, and we would, just hash out what would be a reasonable response. That was really important. Really having somebody to help you through all the regulations and getting all your licensure and all your contracts in place. I underestimated how much red tape there was in that respect, and so it was really, really important to have somebody help me through that. And so I can't say enough about how much better that made it, and I'd probably still be working on it if I hadn't had somebody help me. It's just, there's just not a handbook for it. There's just not a handbook to tell you all the stuff you need to do when you buy a store.
Yeah, the contracts and licensure is a little overwhelming.
Right.
It can be,
But I mean, it was, you guys laid it out, you'd been there before, you kind of had a formula, and it made it as smooth as it could be. And it wasn't perfect because there's always something. But it got done in a timely manner, and we didn't have to shut down, and so that was all good. And I was able to concentrate on the things that I needed to concentrate on as quickly as possible and work on building the business.
So if you had to decide to be an owner, would you do it all over again?
Well, probably the proof in that one is in the pudding, which is we have already bought a second store, and we're getting ready to open another one, and my son is in pharmacy school, and he's just finished his first year. So if I'm going to drag my child into it, then I think it must have worked out okay. I don't think he would have followed me to the hospital. I don't think he would have done that, but I think he finds ownership has just a lot of challenges that are unique and rewarding when you figure it out. I think there's still a lot of opportunity. I think there are some challenges right now, and and it's going to be a trial by fire, and we're going to come out on the other end stronger than we were. But it's going to be a little rough figuring out how to work all the clinical stuff in, and that was something I realized right away. Clinically, it was going to be a little bit harder than I realized to do all that. So I know how to do the patient visits, and I know how to do the billing, but getting all the collaborative agreements in place, well, that's a little trickier. And setting up your contracts with the insurance companies as a direct provider, well, that's a little trickier. There's doing all the Medicare stuff. It's just there's a lot of little tricks to it that you guys have really been instrumental in helped us out with, and I can't say how helpful it was.
So, do you have any advice for anyone that thinks they might want to be a pharmacy owner?
Well, I definitely think it's worth it. I mean, there's a lot of pharmacists out there who are owners who say, I wouldn't have my kids do it, I wouldn't do it again. And I don't feel that way. I feel like that's not completely honest, because it's been a good living and a good life for a lot of people for a long time. And if you're just going to talk numbers, I do better now than I ever did working for the hospital, and I was at risk of being one of those people that they would immediately lay off because I was way high up in the pay scale. So if I was that high and I'm doing better than that now, then there's still a lot of opportunity in independent pharmacy. Now, is it easy? No. Do you have to think outside the box? Well, yes, but that's the challenge of it. That's the fun of it. It's definitely a harder, more challenging job than I had in the hospital. So I thought I had the hardest job in pharmacy. I was so wrong, because being an owner is more challenging, but it is also more rewarding. And I would even go as far to say, when people talk to me and they find out that I'm a store owner, they treat me. People look at you differently.
Respect with that.
There's a respect with that I don't think I got just being a clinical manager. They were like, when you're an owner, oh, that's cool. So there's that.
I would say do your homework. If it's an industry that you want to get into, especially with all the changes that are going on in the pharmacy industry right now.
Have some support.
The model for running a pharmacy now is not the model it was 20 to 25 years ago. And you need to know that, understand it, and that's where somebody like you has been really valuable. I mean, I've found that every time we've sort of branched out into an area we hadn't been in before, whether it was 340B or DME, we've always had questions, and we've always been able to pick up the phone and call you guys, and I invariably find out, when I talked to Owen yesterday, he was explaining some things about 340B to me that were extremely helpful,
Very valuable.
and you guys have already been there, so that's a big asset for us to be able to rely on advice.
That's great. Well, thanks so much for your time today. We certainly appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.